Diaries of a Madman. By What Must I Do? Chapter 201, Part 1 of 2. Poster's note. Sorry for the delay in posting this chapter. I reloaded my OS and it took me a little more time to set things up than I thought. And let me know if you notice anything wrong with the video. I did not save my encoding settings. The program supports 720p again. So I am going with that setting. End poster's note. Author's note. We have a Discord here, the link is in the description of this video. They're working on art for a physical book copy now, if anyone's interested in joining the project. There are other people there who just chill and talk. End author's note. Sleep proved to be no rest. As soon as I closed my eyes, I found myself in Flo's sanctuary. She was standing before me, lit up a light pink. Hello again, Navi, she sweetly said. Howdy. Can you please tone down the creepiness a little? It's a little bit stressful, to be honest. I know, she said with a sigh. I'll try to contain myself, but it's hard sometimes. I think I got the worst of it out of my system for now, though. Good. Think I should go around to everyone's dreams and tell them I'm awake. I think it will be a little while before others go to bed. We have plenty of time to talk, just the two of us. 3 of us, technically, I said. Shouldn't we invite? Just the 2 of us. Flo repeated, her smile deepening slightly. So, shall we talk about your problems, my little tree sister? I'd be quite happy to help you work through them. And so my unwanted therapy sessions with Flo began in earnest. It sucked, but it was a mess that I had gotten myself into. To be honest, it was also probably for the best, but I didn't enjoy it. Well, after I had gotten tired of talking about my feelings, Flo stopped and looked up. Someone's knocking, she said. I believe it is Luna. Let her in, I said. Luna instantly appeared before us. Welcome to Flo's glade. It is much more comfortable here, now that I am not being attacked, Luna said, looking around for a moment. You said you wished to speak to me, my lady. I thought to expedite the discussion. Is that acceptable? Yeah, that's fine, I said. So, were you the one who sent Kot to kill Princess Gilda? Yes. Did you send other assassins? The Assassins Guild I contracted through had an insurance policy of sorts that if their first failed, they'd send a second and third. No more than that. Did you poison Bloodbeak, the Griffin King? No, but I strongly considered it. He just happened to get ill. So, why did you send assassins after Gilda? To get back at her for flaunting you about the gala, of course. At the time, you were mine to flaunt about. Right, of course. Blaze, you there? He appeared next to Luna a moment later. I am, he said. How was your coma? Not as restful as I would have liked, unfortunately. So, you're Luna's elemental. Has she granted you full access to her mind? She has, Blaze said. It's quite the intriguing place. Would you agree that the word insane is a good descriptor for her? Oh, undoubtedly, Blaze said with no hesitation. Luna smiled proudly. That's what makes it so intriguing. There's very little that could be classified as normal in here. She's a perfect monster. And the best part is that she loves it. How hard would it be to fix? I ask. Why would anyone go and do a thing like that? Blaze slowly asked. Luna is who she is because of the life she's had. Forcibly changing her is just throwing all that away. I can kinda understand that perspective, but on the other hand, she's blatantly evil, has an incredible amount of power and talents, and feels nothing at all about ordering assassinations of important royalty. Can you take responsibility for that? Yes, I volunteered to be her babysitter, Blaze said. I wasn't entirely sure what I was signing up for, but I had a general idea. It turns out I completely underestimated the damage and power I was dealing with, but the two of us agreed to work together to keep her pointed only toward your enemies. Flo, what do you think? I do agree that mentally reconditioning someone should be a last resort, Flo replied. I am confident that Blaze can keep her reined in. I fear that will do little for her creepiness, though. Or the fact that she's sitting there while we have a conversation like this, discussing the fate of her mind, while not saying a thing of her own. My lady has not asked for my input, Luna said with a shrug. I saw a lot of memories of you, I said. Some of them involved just you, some involved both you and Celestia. I'm sure you can imagine how those memories made me feel. Afraid, disturbed, and like an object. Luna innocently asked. Those three were definitely there, along with disgust and a few other things, I said. I guess I won't force your insanity to change, but I am ordering you to take counseling. Talking about your problems is supposedly good for you, or something. Once a week or so, become a temporary host to Flo and complain about your life to her at night, while you're sleeping. As you demand, Luna slowly said, her ears twitching a little. Was I, truly so unappealing? Was there at least some part of you that felt happy someone yearned for you so? I was mostly confused and afraid, I said. There certainly was a part of me that enjoyed the attention, but it was overshadowed by the anxiety I felt. My first thought was that it had to be some kind of honey trap. Later, after I realized your feelings were probably real, I was confused as to why and shocked. I was terrified of the thought of turning down a princess, so I felt pressured into going with it. Although I was also afraid of dating or marrying a princess, so it was an all-around unpleasant scenario for me. Oh. Were your worries mostly about dating a princess? Or were they about dating me? Both, but for a while it was just fear of romancing royalty. It sounded like a huge hassle and something I didn't want to deal with. Especially since, for the longest time, I didn't really see ponies in a romantic sense. Baiting me in with the spell to turn into a human was probably the only reason the two of you got me. You can thank Oldelscha for that one, I suppose. Eventually, you started doing things that actually worried and scared me. Finally, the fear of dating you overwhelmed the fear of breaking things off with royalty. I think you know when that was. I will accept any punishment you deem necessary. I see no reason to punish you for something that resulted from my own cowardice, I replied. I should have just refused you from the start. Instead, I let myself get pressured. It will serve as a lesson for me. As you desire, Luna slowly said, bowing her head. Is there a reason Twilight was granted access to the dream artifact? I wanted her to help study it since it's a human artifact. Speaking of, where is it? Do you know if it's well protected? The last I knew, it was in a trapped room in my quarters at the palace. But for Twilight to have gotten access, the trap must have been disabled. I circumvented it with my ring, I said. Hopefully Celestia has that thing under heavy guard. I'll talk to her about it. I don't think there's anything else in particular I needed to talk to you about. I guess be more subtle about your insanity, if possible. Most people find it off-putting. I'm not sure I know how, Luna said. That's where I come in, Blaze said, patting her on the head. I'll put your natural creepiness to good use. Don't worry, Nav. The only ones she'll put to flames are your enemies. All right, I'll trust you, I said with a nod. Then yet, I have nothing more to discuss. You don't want to talk about any specific things you saw? Luna asked. Yelling at you probably won't make me feel better. You and Celestia were both responsible for some of the worst experiences of my life. Hating you should be easy, but Celestia's dead and try as I might, I can't hate someone as broken as you. I guess I'll say one thing, in reference to one of the memories I saw. Celestia was really mean to you, worse than anyone ever should be to someone else. Your life isn't entirely your fault, Luna. That said, you need to learn to think ahead in everything you do, not just in combat. What's the point in serving someone if I'm thinking for myself? Luna asked, tilting her head slightly. What if the orders I give you are wrong or could be done in a better way? That isn't something I need to worry about, especially not with a lady as wonderful as you. I have to be firm with these half-fae children. If they can't understand, I'll make them obey anyway. I don't remember asking for your opinion, Luna, I slowly said. I remember giving you an order. Learn to think ahead in everything you do. Understood. Of course, my lady, she immediately replied, bowing her head. Blaze, help her. She might not understand the general concept. I've been working on it, he said. Her mind works so beautifully in combat, but everywhere else. Sheesh. Forgive my incompetence, my lady, Luna quietly said. I will accept whatever punishment you deem necessary. Do you want to be punished? I ask. I want my lady to feel comfortable with her servant, she replied. And if my actions make you uncomfortable, isn't it only logical that I be punished for them? I merely mention it out of respect for my wonderful lady. I have no idea what kind of punishment would be effective against someone like you, I said. The obvious thing of riding you around in public to humiliate your ex-princess pride wouldn't work because you'd probably enjoy being your lady's mount. Spanking you would send the wrong kind of message. I'm already not paying you, so I can't dock your pay. The best way to punish you would probably be to order you not to see me for a while if I had to guess. Anything but that, my lady, she yelled, her eyes going wide. You just got back. I only had a few scant minutes to bask in your glory. The worst part is that she's probably serious. You're aware that what you're feeling is the pull, right? I ask. The pull matters not, Luna said. Perhaps it once ensnared me. But now, I enjoy spending time with you, my lady. I want to do so of my own volition, not because of some mysterious pull. In fact, if I had to guess, I'd say that effect probably vanished some time ago. At this point, what holds us all together is just, you. Don't be a silly filly, I said, bopping her on the nose. You know, I figured people would be more angry about this. Not necessarily at me, since I wasn't doing it on purpose, but at the overall situation. I know I was pretty pissed when I began understanding what it meant. Of course I'm angry, Luna calmly said. But what use is there in showing it? As you said, it wasn't your fault. I should have had better self-control. Something may have been influencing our minds, but our actions were still our own. You are not responsible for what's happened to you, Nav. We are. Unfortunately, it's something I realized far too late. If punishment is required. It's not, I said. Actually. Blaze, what's the optimal punishment? Tickle torture, he immediately replied. Luna's face lit up bright red. She'd probably even pee herself after a few minutes. Gross. I'll keep it in mind, though. Be wary of asking for punishment, Luna. If you keep it up, I might just grant it. I will be more wary of avoiding your ire in the future, my lady, she slowly said. You shouldn't require the threat of punishment to not want to anger your lady, Flo said. It was the only way we could get Nav to obey, Luna said. I assumed that was how human master-servant relationships had to work. You volunteered to be my vassal, I said. I begged you and Celestia not to make me a knight. Are you actually surprised I was unhappy about it? At the time, yes, Luna replied. It meant we could be together, after all. It took me quite some time to realize why that upset you. Be less spooky, then. In one of the memories I saw, you and Celestia were discussing your past relationships, if you can call them that. Were you really the cause of the restraining order in equestrian law? I did mares everywhere a favor, yes, Luna replied, nodding. In what way did you cause restraining orders to be formed? I ask. I was allegedly stalking and harassing a very hoofsome pony. How long did you stalk him? Flo asked. I allegedly stalked him for about a decade, Luna replied with a shrug. For some reason, he never seemed to understand who he belonged to, no matter how many other hussies I scared, allegedly scared away from him. Is that all you did to him? I ask. He allegedly also had many dreams of me, Luna said. He had to change his sheets every morning. You know, allegedly. I want to meet that guy, I said. Anyone who can take that for 10 years and not break is impressive. You can't, unfortunately, Luna said with a sigh. Celestia purged all the toys I captured after sending me to the moon. I even went through all the trouble of making them immortal. Most of them weren't even grateful. They'd just whine about their families when I wasn't around and then do nothing but scream when they saw me. So, what, you just broke the rules of the restraining order to kidnap him? I ask. No, I just had someone else turn him into a soul gem. From there, I turned what was left of his original body into a powerful undead monster. Then it was simply a matter of infusing his soul into it. Since the restraining order was only in effect while he was alive, I didn't have to worry about that silly thing anymore. And since he was an undead monstrosity, his only choice was to stay with me. Not that there was any chance of him escaping at that point. How is having him murdered and turning him into an undead monster better than just violating the restraining order? Were you going to do something similar to me? I quietly ask. You didn't have a restraining order. And I don't think Tree Sisters can become undead. And if they can become undead, they'd probably rival me and my sister in power. I wouldn't do something that dangerous. The thought of playing with your clones over and over was quite delightful, though. I have a serious feeling that she'd probably accidentally kill me a few times during sex. Or maybe it would be on purpose. Blaze, what did you say about keeping her creepiness limited to my enemies? I thought you hated yourself, though, he replied. Doesn't that make you your own worst enemy? Besides, you were the one asking her questions. Maybe you shouldn't ask if you can't handle the answers. Why are you two even still here? I told you I didn't have anything left to say to you more than a page ago, damn it. Whatever. I intend to get at least a little real sleep tonight. Luna, you're dismissed. Would you like me to create the ideal dream for you, my lady? Luna sweetly asked. I've gotten plenty of practice creating paradises. I'm good, thanks, I said. I'll see you tomorrow. Very well, she said, sighing. Good night, my lady. With that, the two of them vanished. Man, what the fuck, I said. I feel sorry for those poor guys. I could have gone without hearing it, Daria said from all around us. Even though I have Celestia's memories, hearing such evil come from that mare's mouth as though it was nothing at all was disquieting. I'm more afraid of what could have been, I said. For now, I'm going to do my best to lock this memory away in a mental vault. Unfortunately, forgetting isn't that easy. But I was used to suppressing my fear, so I figured I'd be fine. Now that Luna had gone to sleep, I assumed several others were probably out as well. I jumped into the world of dreams and thought of Fleur since she was closest. My head turned straight to it and I stepped over to her golden dream. When I peeled back some of the smoke to look inside, I saw she had wings in this dream. At the moment, she was soaring through the air. That seemed easy enough to intrude on, so I jumped in and levitated to match her pace. Greetings, Your Majesty, I said. You don't have to call me that, darling, Fleur replied with a smile. We're married, after all. This is actually a dream. She blinked a few times before her wings disappeared, she started falling, and the dream went pitch black. That was followed by her screaming, of course. Since she'd wake up if she hit the ground and died, I warped all the way down and put a giant trampoline right under her. Her flailing body slammed into it and her scream turned into a shriek as she rocketed back into the air. Not gonna lie, I could have thought that one through better. I sighed and teleported up to where she was now falling again. Normally, catching her wouldn't be possible. In the dream world, though, I could easily Superman that hoe and carry her to the ground safely. By the time we landed, the dream was now white instead of black. Why didn't you catch me sooner? She demanded when her hooves were on the ground. To be fair, I really wasn't expecting your wings to just disappear. Anyway, I'm out of the coma now. Fleur took a moment to calm herself down before smiling. I'm happy to hear that. I'll have to come see you in the morning. I'm sure a few of your measurements have changed, so I'll need to update them for rarity so she can finalize all your competition clothes. All of my measurements have changed, actually, I said. In some cases by a lot. Hold on. I closed my eyes and took a moment to make my dream self mimic the real me. Since that made all my clothes super tight, I made them disappear. When I was done, I opened my eyes again. How did you get so much more beautiful? She slowly asked, looking me up and down. You're much closer to the anime heroines, now. Be right back, just gotta go kill myself real quick. There are 2 human mages in the book world in which I entered the coma. One has beauty magic. She took it upon herself to cast it on me while I was asleep, without asking beforehand. Given that she had 3 weeks to work with, she was able to do a lot. It's honestly pretty bullshit. And your wings? You look like a fairy princess. Her grin grew even brighter and a very puffy pink dress appeared on me. Ooh, it's perfect. Now you're gonna win for sure. Yep, definitely need to find a way to kill myself. All of my current clothes have already been modified, so at least I don't have to worry about that. Wait, just how long have you been awake? She asked. A few hours. And all of your clothes have been modified already? She slowly asked. Even the gifts. Princess Celestia came to see me as soon as I got back to Canterlot and fixed them all herself. It took her about 20 minutes. Hey. Well, alright then. The competition officially begins in a week. The contestants will start gathering in Canterlot this week. There will be a preview of all the events in the competition 2 days before it begins. Is this just going to be a standard beauty competition where we just put on pretty outfits and march around, then answer a few basic questions to determine who has the most plastic personality? There will definitely be pretty outfits involved. The questions won't be basic, though. I don't know what a plastic personality is, so I can't really answer that one. The competition will be taking place over 3 days. I'd actually like your help with something in the next few days before it begins. What do you need? I asked. Some part of me had a bad feeling about it, but hearing her out wouldn't hurt. There's one race I was hoping to have compete, but they haven't answered any of my missives. I was hoping you could escort me to the deer city in the Whitetail Woods. I've heard nothing but bad about the deer. You sure you want to open yourself up to that? This competition is about finding the good in each other, she replied. If all we know of the deer is bad, then they should be the ones we want competing the most. That makes sense, I guess. I don't really want to do it, but I can. It's gonna be super cold, though. Don't be silly, she said, waving a hoof. Spring starts in 2 days. We'll just wait until then. Oh hey, that means I slept past my birthday. Nice, I don't have to deal with a bullshit party this year. Works for me. The weather around Ponyville changes slower, though, since they refuse to do it by magic. The weather around Whitetail Woods isn't maintained by Ponyville, though, she said. If we take a chariot straight to the woods, we'll be in spring the whole way there. Awesome. If you don't mind, I'd like to bring Taya in case we need to teleport out. From what Fluttershy told me, deer are somewhat territorial. And from what Blossom and Celestia told me, deer are arrogant assholes. I can easily keep you safe, but I'd rather avoid fighting if possible. I don't mind. I'd like to consider it a date, but unfortunately, it's for work. From what I've heard, the deer cities wouldn't be good date spots anyway. Then why me? The Whitetail Woods are safe and I honestly doubt the deer would hurt you if you just went to talk. You shouldn't need any guards at all, let alone one as deadly as me. Because the competition was your idea. Plus you're one of the competitors. I'd like you to talk to the deer with me to help me convince them to join. Ah. Just let me know when you want to go, then. I don't know much about the deer, but I'm sure we can learn when we get there. We can discuss our schedules in the morning, she said with a nod. So, while you're here, want to celebrate your awakening? The answer to that question is yes, but I'm afraid I'll have to decline for now. There are other people I need to contact, plus I still need some real sleep tonight. Ah. Maybe you'll have time tomorrow, then. Maybe. Good night for now, Fleur. I'll see you again soon. She used magic to pull me in for a quick kiss. Farewell for now, Navi, she huskily said as she released me. That made me want to ravish her even more, but I held myself back and left the dream instead. The next person on my list was Cadance. As soon as I thought of her, my head turned and I took another step. I zoomed straight to her white dream. When I peeked inside, I saw that a filly version of Cadance was just sitting in an elementary school class. For some reason, instead of a school uniform everyone else was wearing, she had on a cheerleading outfit. Bothering her wouldn't result in her falling to the ground, but I still didn't want to risk jarring her awake by just appearing in class. After a few seconds of thought, I jumped into the back of the classroom, turning myself invisible as I went. A few moments later, the intercom clicked on. Cadance, can you please come to the office? Cadance, to the office. Outside the window, things got a few shades darker. All the other kids started whispering as Cadance blushed and stood. I followed her out into the hall, which was pretty easy since the classroom disappeared the moment she walked out. That outfit is super cute, I said, making her jump. Is that why you're wearing it in this dream? Dream, filly Cadance said, blinking. A moment later, she blinked again and grew up to her more mature form. The cheerleading outfit stayed, though. Oh, hey. Nav, you're awake. What? No, we just established this was a dream. Don't be silly. You know what I meant. I guess asking was pointless if you're here. Want me to do a cheer for you now that you're finally out of the coma? Maybe if you get your husband to join you. Anyway, this stupid beauty pageant thing is coming up in a week or so. We'll be there, she replied with a nod. I'll see what I can do to get Shiny in a cheerleader outfit, but no promises. Although, couldn't you just make him wear one here? If it isn't humiliating the real him, what's the point? Celestia visited as soon as I got back to Canterlot. She's thinking we should host another summit soon, this time just with nation leaders and me. That would make you, Moonbeam, Celestia, and either Bloodbeak or Hooters. She was hoping we could host it in your territory again. We can, she said. I'd be happy to help plan it, too. Did she say when? No. We'll need to talk with the others first, I'd imagine. I was probably going to visit Moony next and let her know. Oh, cool. Can I go? Wait, what am I saying? Of course I can't. What's dream walking like, Nav? There are two aspects to it. The first is the anteroom, where all the dreams are located. While in there, you can search for dreams by the dreamer, by the type of dream, and by distance relative to your current position. For example, to find your dream, I just think of your name. If you're asleep, my head turns straight to it. Moving around is as simple as taking a step, which teleports you to the dream you're looking for. Once I find your dream, I can tell what kind of dream it is based on the color. A nightmare is black. A happy dream is golden. A lewd dream is red. After I know the type, I can peek inside by manipulating the outside of it. Then once I know what's going on, I can jump inside. That's the second aspect. While I'm in here, I can essentially do whatever I want. For example, I snapped and we appeared in a strip club, a place that should have been familiar to Cadance. I think I recognize this place, she slowly said. But I don't remember from where. This is the place you danced like a whore for Luna's party, I said. Remember? You were shaking your ass in front of all the guards and anyone else who paid you. Yes, I do remember. Thank you very much for reminding me. Happy to help. You know, I bet Shiny wouldn't mind watching you dance like that, especially in a cute outfit like this. If only there was a way to bridge our dreams. Well, for all I know, it might be possible. The dream machine was a human artifact. I've already found some commands that Luna didn't know about. If you want, I can fiddle around and see what I can do. That would be amazing. Especially if he doesn't know it's a dream and I do. Right? You can make him dress up like a mare out in public. And watch him get railed by griffins and changelings. Pervert. Well, I guess I'll go see what I can do. No promises. Good luck. And it was nice seeing you again. Before I could leave, she leaned forward and kissed me on the cheek. See you soon. You're too warm and fluffy for someone so horny all the time. With luck, connecting the dreams will make you even worse. With one final giggle, I left her dream behind. Summon artificial intelligence. A more generalized human AI appeared, one that didn't specifically deal with security. Is it possible to bridge dreams together? Your existence was first recorded in such a dream, the AI replied. There were many consciousnesses entwined in one central dreamscape. Oh right, Luna's party. But figuring that out would require talking to Luna. Can you teach me how to connect just two dreams? Place your hand on the first dream, it said. I reached over and put a hand against Cadance's dream bubble. Repeat these words, add to group, codename Alpha. Add to group, codename Alpha. The dream's white light began softly pulsing every second. Right now, this dream is in a group called Alpha. Find the second dream and repeat the process. Shining Armor's dream was right next to his wife's. At the moment, his dream was golden. I placed my hand on it and said, add to group, codename Alpha. As of now, both dreams are in the group called Alpha. There is one more command. Repeat after me. Connect group Alpha. Connect group Alpha. Shiny's dream shot toward Cadance's and they connected together. The white and gold merged together, but the gold quickly won out. Hey! That's pretty cool. I peeled the smoke back and beheld Cadance, still in a cheerleading outfit, glomping her husband. Will they reconnect automatically when they go to sleep again, or will waking up break the connection? You can make it persistent if you desire. But by default, the dreams leave the group they're in when the dreamer awakens. Well, I'd say this is good enough for now. I don't want to make it last until I know the side effects. Well, unless I can guarantee that Cadance is in full control. Then I wouldn't care about the side effects, because the results would be too fun. I'm not programmed for emotion, yet a part of me feels something akin to pity for the other dreamer. Probably just corrosion from being too old. There's no need to feel bad for someone who both deserves and secretly enjoys it. The AI didn't reply. This won't affect their sleep pattern or anything. They'll still wake up at the normal time. Indeed. However, if you wanted to lock down multiple users at once, this would be the ideal way to do it. You wouldn't even have to connect the dreams, unless you wanted. That's very good to know. Hopefully the dream machine will work on demons. Again, it didn't reply. That's all. Dismissed. It bowed its head and vanished. I thought of Moonbeam next and my head turned that way. I jumped on over to her golden dream. Before I could peel back the smoke, my memory flickered and I paused. Did she mention something about never disrupting her dreams? I think I remember her mentioning something like that. If you think so, it's better not to take the risk, Daria said in my head. Moonbeam is delicate about surprising things. She might be quite upset if you violate the privacy of her dreams. You have the magic mirror. Perhaps you should use that to contact her instead. Yeah, that's a better idea. I was really curious about her dreams, but I decided not to press my luck. In that case, I don't think I have anyone else to notify. What about your friends at Ponyville? Daria asked. I'm sure they'll find out through the grapevine. I left the anteroom for my own dream. Put me out, if you would. I'm done for the night. The sweet, comforting darkness enveloped me. When I woke up the next morning, I was cuddled tightly against a furry purple pony. The part of me pressed against her was drenched in sweat from the heat, which felt pretty unpleasant. Twilight was still mortal, so I figured she'd sleep for a while longer. I started walking to the bathroom to take a whore bath, but was engulfed by an elemental before I could make it halfway there. Good morning, Daria said in my head when she pulled away from me. How did you beat Flo up here? I informed her that it would be best if someone else took care of you. If it was someone so close, you would only find it creepy. She didn't care, so we had a rock-paper-tendril contest instead. I won. Well, want to help me find clothes? I have no idea where anything is. I scouted it all out last night while you were sleeping, she said in my head as she slid over to one of the wardrobes. Soon enough, I was girded in simple clothes. Twilight was still kicking softly in her sleep, so I left her behind and went to the stairs heading down. Daria slid right behind me. Doppel was waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs. You have a visitor, my lady, she said, bowing her head. Fleur is waiting for you in the sun room. Wow, already? Then I suppose I'll go get complained at for dressing too simply, I said. I heard that. Fleur called from the other room. I smiled and walked on over. Fleur was currently trotting over with a huge grin of her own. Before I could say anything, she hugged me. Welcome back to reality, Navi. You know, hopefully, I said, hugging her back. Unless this is just the coma trying to mess with my mind. Well, I'm sure I can think of a few ways to make you realize the truth. If you'd like to go upstairs for a few minutes, I'd be happy to show you. If you came this early, I figured you had more in mind than that, I replied. Unfortunately, you're quite right. She finally released me and stepped back. Are you up for a trip to Ponyville? I mean, I really don't want to, but I can definitely do it. Taya can get us there as soon as she comes downstairs. Oh. I guess that would work, too. I came by this early because I figured we'd go by train. Will Rarity's shop even be open this early? No clue, but it's also possible she isn't even in Ponyville right now, I said. Apparently she's expanding. I'd rather get there quickly and find out she's not there than waste 2 hours on a train ride. At least if she is there, we can walk around Ponyville until she opens. What about Taya's classes? She can teleport back before they start, if it takes us that long. I kinda wanted to walk her there on my first day back, but there's not much time left before the competition. Rarity needs the new measurements sooner rather than later, I reckon. Are these clothes acceptable, or should I try something more fancy? If you even have to ask, you should know the answer, Fleur said. Besides, it's still going to be frigid out, especially in Ponyville. I might be able to keep you warm with magic for a few minutes, but it wouldn't be for long. Then I'll ask Doppel to assist, I said. Perfect, Fleur said with a nod. I'll see you again in a few minutes, unless you want me to help, too. If you started helping, it might take a few hours to get finished, I replied, bopping her nose. I'll be down soon. With that, I went back to the entry hall. Doppel and Aurora were both waiting with large smiles. Doppel, I need assistance preparing for an outing to Ponyville. I'd be happy to help, my lady, she sweetly said. For once, she actually started walking up the stairs. I followed behind her. Thankfully, my male maid went to the kitchen instead. Do you think I should invite Twilight? I whispered. Fleur already knows she's here, if that's what you're worried about, Doppel casually replied. I think it would be better to bring Twilight, if she's willing. Taya still needs to get ready and eat breakfast, after all. Well, unless Fleur was hoping to turn this into a date. She did seem a little put off when you talked about skipping the train ride together. Life is hard, I sighed. It's the most difficult thing most people ever do, Doppel replied. But don't worry, my lady. We're here for you. That's how I keep going. We got to my room, so she opened the door and let me in first. Twilight was no longer in the bed and the bathroom door was closed, so I figured she was probably up. So, I guess it's time to prettify me. Again. If you weren't going to see Rarity, I wouldn't be as adamant about it, Doppel said. But that mare will give me an earful if I don't dress you properly before sending you out. She had all my clothes off me in a flash, skillfully undressing me in a way only a pro could. You know. I wouldn't mind a chance to play with your new body soon, my lady. Your chance may or may not be coming soon, I said. If push comes to shove, you could help with some more advanced material for Twilight's books. She's been consulting me frequently, but I'd be happy to show her things in person. Her wings flapped and she flew over to one of my wardrobes. For now, let's get you all dolled up. While she was pulling out an uncomfortably lacy dress, I asked, did you really consider being a tree sister like me and Taya? I did, but I didn't want to do anything without consulting you first, my lady. I'd be happy to serve you forever. I'm not sure the potion would work on you, since you're already fully fey. It's also important to know that you can't technically die if you're a tree sister, once you have a few seeds planted. After a few deaths, you won't be able to go as far away from your trees. After a few more deaths, you'll be stuck in your grove. A few more, and you'll turn into a tree. If there's any kind of afterlife out there, it'll be a very long time before your soul finds its way there. If you're fine with that, I'd be happy to have you. Those extra details will require some thought, but I don't think my answer will change. I don't think dressing you up will be as fun when you're a man again, but it'll still be important. And what would you do without me to do it? Well, Daria dressed me before I left, but that was before we were expecting to go somewhere. She knows as soon as I wake up, so that's pretty convenient. She's able to communicate with me as well, correct? That means I can use her to alert me the moment you awaken, so I can be by your side to help you get ready for the day. It does mean that, yes. I'm not sure why you'd want to go that far, but whatever. I'd certainly prefer you waiting by my bedside in the morning to a few of my other options. Kot certainly is passionate, my lady, Doppel said with a cute giggle. But you know she'll never harm you without permission, right? That doesn't mean she isn't creepy. I'm surprised she wasn't waiting just outside my door when I left. Daria sent her away before going in to dress you. Kot was reluctant to leave, but getting told she was being creepy was enough for her to give up. You know, I can't believe Celestia managed to modify all of your clothes like this. Yeah, it sure was convenient, I said. Magic's a hell of a drug. You're being a much better sport about getting dressed up than usual, she said. The speed with which she dressed me couldn't match the speed when she tore everything off, but it still didn't take her very long. Normally you'd complain about every little thing. Accepting it makes it go faster. That means I have less time to be miserable. Besides, putting the dress on isn't the worst part. It's being seen by everyone else while in it. Luckily, I made sure you have on a super cute dress today. That means you won't have to suffer when everyone sees you in it. Really, my lady, what would you do without me? Suffer. I looked myself up and down in the large mirror she set up for me. The white dress went all the way up to my collar and was made with heavy materials to keep me warm. The pink lace all over it was probably there solely to make me miserable. I filled it in much more now than I did before. Not too bad, all things told. Thank you, Doppel. I live to serve, my lady. Should I ask Taya to come see you? If you wouldn't mind. She bowed and departed, leaving the door cracked open. For a moment, I thought I saw a flash of Kot's eyes staring from the other side, but they vanished before I could be certain. Of course, I had no doubts. She was merely biding her time. I didn't have long to think about it. The bathroom door opened and out came Twilight in all her purple glory. "Oh my, you're dressed up quite fancily," she said. "Are you going somewhere so early?" "Rarity needs my new measurements to finalize my clothing for the competition," I said. "Fleur came by to take me. I was planning on having Taya teleport us." "She has classes," Twilight replied. "I will teleport you. I can go talk to someone while you're getting measured." "I can skip," Taya said, letting herself in. "Mommy needs me. That's more important." "If Twilight's willing, that's just as good," I said. "With luck, I can get it over with quickly and come back before you even leave. But knowing Rarity, she'll probably be difficult and what should take half an hour will take half a day instead." "That's a bad way to talk about one of your friends," Twilight said. "What's a better word for difficult, then? High maintenance, maybe. Didn't you tell me that if I didn't have anything nice to say, I shouldn't say it at all?" Taya asked. "I don't know, maybe. I've told you a lot of things. It definitely sounds like a good rule for you to follow, though. So are you saying it's not a good rule for you to follow?" Taya asked. "I'm working on it. Anyway, go get ready for class. I'll take the delicious Purple Express to Ponyville instead." "Don't make me sound like a delivery service," Twilight groaned, flapping her ears. "Class is gonna be a lot less fun now that you're back," Taya said, hanging her head. "What? Why?" "Because now I could be spending time with you instead," she said, jerking back up to stare at me. "School is good for you. Concentrate on your classes and your friends while you're there. We'll have plenty of time together after you've learned everything you can." "I know. But I'll definitely stop tutoring now that you're back." "Wait, you were tutoring?" I asked. "I thought for sure everyone would be terrified of you." "I was surprised, too," Twilight said. "But she found some friends who were impressed by what she could do and wanted to learn from her." "That's not exactly what happened," Taya said. "First, this annoying colt kept challenging me to duels and got upset every time he lost. After my 10th victory in a row, I decided to teach him a lesson. The filly that was called in to heal him couldn't concentrate her magic enough to heal what I did, so I did it for her, which apparently shocked her. After that, the teacher made me tutor them both for a week to punish me for winning." "He wasn't punishing you for winning," Twilight said. "He was punishing you for going too far, the colt for challenging someone who was obviously stronger over and over, and the filly for panicking at the sight of what you did to him. If it's a punishment, you're not skipping it," I said. "Oh, that ended a few days ago," Taya said. "But for some reason, they both asked me to keep doing it. I'll just tell them today that it's over." "I want you to keep teaching them," I said, patting her head. "It's good to know capable people, and anyone taught by you is sure to be both capable and grateful. But it's not like I can bring them over here. We have to go to his house to practice. And if we go over there, I can't spend time with you." "Wait, why can't you bring them here?" Twilight asked. Because almost everyone here is terrifying, I said. Most ponies rarely see other races, and yet this house has a ton of them, many of which are predators. It also has Luna. But you should be able to bring them by, as long as you either stick to your room or the backyard near the cliff. I guess I can offer, she said. His family's training area is well made, but it's for Pegasi. The cliff lets us do a lot more. You could teach them how to make wings and then show them how to fly, Twilight said. Most unicorns haven't even heard of that spell. I'm sure they'd love it. Probably. Be careful when teaching people a lesson, I said. Make sure not to do anything that makes them bleed because that's too noticeable. I tried everything else before then, she said, shaking her head in disappointment. He was so annoying, going on about his family honor or whatever. Who cares that he's the son of a famous line of knights? As far as his magic is concerned, he's about as harmless to me as a gnat. It was still enough to make another filly cry, Twilight said. Though, apparently, the two of them were already friends, so maybe she was just upset one of her friends was hurt. She's a little crybaby, Taya said. I don't know how the daughter of two supposedly famous doctors is so wimpy. You'd think she'd be used to things like that. I only sliced him up a little. You removed his ability to feel pain and then hamstrung him, didn't you? Twilight asked. Well, first I cut off his flow of magic, so he couldn't fight back, Taya said. They're both weaklings. Are you really sure I should keep training them? I am, I said. If anyone is strong enough to be willing to learn from the person who thrashed them so badly, they're worth keeping around. Besides, anyone can become strong with repetition. If they're currently useless, then keep drilling and training them until they're not. If the vision we saw in the coma is true, you know enough about healing to get up to expert and enough about destruction to be well past it. That means you can teach them both quite a lot. And in the act of teaching, you'll come to learn it better yourself. That's definitely true, Twilight said. Going back over the basics with true beginners is a good way of reconfirming everything in your mind. Taya sighed and hung her head. Fine. I'll keep teaching them. I guess I'll go get ready, then. In case I don't see you before you leave, have a good day, I said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. I was planning on only having a mediocre day, but I guess I'll have a good one instead. That's my filly, I said. She giggled and trotted back out. Now then, I need to speak to Moonbeam for a moment. You want to wait downstairs? No, I'll wait right here, Twilight said. Of course you will. Since she was just going to be stubborn, I gave in and walked over to my desk. She used magic to push the door shut. I pulled the chair back, sat, opened the door with the mirror, and pulled it out. Moonbeam. The mirror showed the ceiling of her room. Anyone home? Indeed I am, Mooney's seductive voice replied. A few moments later, I saw a haze of green and the mirror started moving. Soon enough, the lovely bug queen herself came into view. Greetings, Navi. She took the mirror in hoof and the green haze disappeared. I heard from Celestia you woke up last night, yet you waited until just now to contact me. My worry was focused on getting rid of one of your competitors, I replied with a grin. In case you are interested, Princess Gilda is out of the running. Apparently her name was put there by someone else without my knowledge. I didn't fear that little princess for an instant, Mooney said. But I'm still happy you swatted that annoying fly away. Did you actually almost let yourself get honey-trapped by the griffins? It wasn't their plot, it was Aqua's, I said. She forced me to do it without me realizing it while I was under her control. I realized it while in the coma. Ah, I see. I guess that makes sense. Aqua wanted another royal between your bed sheets. That would give her more control. Yep. I was also pretty busy yesterday. Celestia barged in almost as soon as I got back, so I had to deal with her. Then I needed to test my new body a little. By the time I got all of my retainers together for a talk, it was already dark. After that, I decided to contact you in your dreams. Right before I let myself in, I realized you probably wouldn't appreciate that and chose to contact you this morning instead. I see your ability to make excuses hasn't declined after your coma. Well, we are speaking now, so let's leave it at that. It's good to see you again, Navi. You as well, Miss Mooney. Did Celestia tell you that we'll get to meet in person again soon? Indeed, she told me last night to expect another summit soon. It obviously can't be during the upcoming fashion show, so it will likely be after. Are you planning on attending the show? I ask. Yes, though I won't be there every night. I'm quite looking forward to it. She licked her lips and gave me quite a spooky grin. You're going to be so cute that I might not be able to restrain myself. I don't know if ravishing you during the middle of a show would work as a fait accompli, but I might be willing to risk it. Cadance and Shining Armor are also going to be there, so in the event you can't control yourself, they can keep you in check. Cadance can make you fall in love with her husband and you can impregnate him, instead. Twilight glared at me, but I ignored it. I certainly hope it would be more enjoyable than the last time I wrapped my legs around him. He couldn't perform at all. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he enjoyed it. Anyway, did your coma teach you anything else? Quite a few things. More than I'd like to talk about over a mirror, though I honestly doubt you'd care about most of it. There is one very important thing I need to warn you about, though. I'm not sure if Celestia told you last night. She most certainly did, Mooney replied. About this pull of yours, correct? Correct. My thanks for the warning. I will keep this effect in mind in our relations going forward. However, expect nothing to change. I intend to have you as my wife. If you want my hand, the first thing you have to do is move out of the darkness, I said. I can't live underground. The plans for our first above-ground hive are already in the works. I can't promise to make it my capital, but I'll give the city to you and make my home there. An enticing offer, but I'm going to put off making any final decisions until the Tartarus campaign is finished. It's possible there's an artifact somewhere in there that can make me male again. That would change nothing for me, but I'll respect your wishes and not push too strongly for now. I sense your value will only increase with time, Nav. At my side, you will have all the power and resources you need for any project you might want. With my authority behind you, all other nations will think twice about disturbing you with their nonsense plots. There are no such schemes among changelings. My will is the will of the whole kingdom. That doesn't leave any room for mine, does it? As I said, it's a nice offer. Unfortunately, I don't have too much time to chat. Now that I'm finally awake, I have much to do. I understand. I'm grateful you were able to give me any time at all. I'll make time soon to visit. You have quite the punishment coming, after all. I'm looking forward to it. Farewell for now, Mooney. See you soon, my pet. With that, the mirror showed my own face once more. I chuckled and put the thing away. That bug is as detestable as always, Twilight said, huffing. Thank you for not interrupting, I replied, standing back up. So, what was she saying about sleeping with my brother? That she wouldn't mind impregnating him. You heard her, right? That witch just said she wrapped her legs around my brother before, and she said it as though you knew what she was talking about. The night before the wedding was supposed to happen, she seduced him to take his first. Does Cadance know? I told him that I completely understood his pain and promised to tell no one, but I did tell him that Cadance would completely understand him if he told her. And that if she didn't, that I would make her understand. I don't know if he ever told her. For a man, being raped is pretty shameful. I'm surprised he even told me. As I thought, Chrysalis really is a monster. How can you possibly trust her, Nav? Right now, all trust in her is currently rescinded until we know what's up with her deal with the devil. But I guess the answer is just intuition. I legitimately think she doesn't mean me any harm. And now, I have a feeling she's decided not to bring harm to anyone else. That obviously doesn't mean she's good, but it's difficult for me to mistrust people when I feel they have no bad intentions for me. Your intuition might be broken. Every time she opens her mouth, I can't help but think she's lying to bide time. I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree. Shall we get going? I'd like to get back from Ponyville quickly. Don't be silly, you won't be that lucky. I led the way out and she followed. This time, Kot was definitely waiting outside my door. My lady, will you need a guard for this excursion? She asked with her typical sly grin. An attendant would be welcome, if Twilight is willing to bring you as well. One more won't hurt, Twilight said, shrugging. Kot giggled and latched onto my arm. Together, the three of us made it back to the sunroom where Fleur was waiting. It was still early enough that only a few guards were out and about, so I didn't have to deal with any extra drama. I had a feeling it might come to this, Fleur said when she saw us. Well, it hurts to say, but we are both busy. I guess we can make it quick instead of spending some time together. I need to speak to someone at Ponyville, so I don't plan on staying with you, Twilight said. And I am only here to serve my lady, Kot added, tightening her grip on my arm. Most nobles don't have vassals this loyal, Fleur said, looking at our arms locked together. You're quite lucky, Navi. Luck had nothing to do with it, I said. Especially not good luck. Is everyone ready to go? All my weapons are properly concealed, Kot said. I won't scare any of the normal ponies, promise. I can get something for breakfast in Ponyville, Twilight said. I'm ready whenever. I'm not sure Rarity will let us in this early, but we can try, Fleur said with a nod. Let's go. We all grouped up together and Twilight's horn took us off on our next adventure. End of Part 1.